Hello traders, Gary Wagner here, just after 12 noon in Honolulu, 5 o'clock in New York. It is Tuesday, last day of the year 2019, last day of the decade as 2020 begins tomorrow. This is the daily report of the gold forecast, our special edition Forecast 2020, the next decade. On today's show, what I want to explore is not only what I think is going to happen short term in the market, meaning the first to the second quarter of 2020, but I also want to talk about what I think we will see over the next 5 to 10 years. In other words, the next decade. Because I believe that one of the most exciting periods in time in terms of gold pricing is about to occur during this upcoming decade. But before that, let's take a look at today's current pricing, and then we'll take a look at our technical studies. With the exception of silver, the precious metals complex closed higher on the day. Nominal change in gold up about $1.40 at $15.20. The high is important, $15.29. The low that it hit was $15.17.5. Platinum traded up almost 0.8%, $9.65. Palladium on fire once again, up over $31 at $1,912. And as I said, silver was down today, down a dime below $18. Now, that was all within some fairly strong tailwinds of a weaker U.S. dollar. Nonetheless, we have an interesting show in which we're going to look at our short-term as well as our long-term projections for gold for next year, and we'll do that right now. So traders, we will begin 2020 with a long position in February gold. We got long, of course, at 1507.50. And I want to first talk about the end of this year as a setup for what I believe is going to happen next year. First of all, as you know, we had a major move this year, and that move took gold from about $12.65 up to $15.65. In other words, a $300 move. And we're labeling that as a pull for the most important pattern that we can identify this year, which was a bull flag which converted into a bull pennant. Now, the flag has two parallel lines, and the distinguishing feature of this type of pattern is that you basically have a series of lower highs and a series of lower lows, and that's what gives you this downslope or parallel downslope. However, there is a pattern very similar to that, which is called a bullish pennant, rather than a bullish flag. And the key distinction is on both occasions you have a series of lower highs, a descending series of highs that come in. But unlike the bull flag formation, which is a parallel, meaning you have lower lows and lower highs, in the case of a pennant formation, you have a series of higher lows, and what that does is it creates a basic compression triangle. Theory behind it is that once it hits the apex, there is a release of energy, and it can go to the upside or downside. However, theory states that it will typically go to the prevalent trend direction, which is definitely up. That's what we were calling for. That's what we saw. We saw the market break out right around here, and then we entered the market on this particular candle one day later. As I said, we're in at 1507. Market is at 1520. Now, today was significant in that the high of the day actually came in and went to about 1529, and that forms a basic pattern that we call a scouting party. That pattern was created or termed by Steve Nissan, and in essence, what it is doing is it is testing the fortitude of the bears as the bulls push the market into a new high territory not achieved recently. Now, we've identified a couple of different areas. The first area we talked about, of course, in terms of resistance was 1520. We then have a top at 1540. And then I believe if we have major resistance, it will not occur till about 1565. And that, of course, is the top that we achieved this year. Which brings us to our forecast of 2020 and beyond. First, in terms of next year, I see absolutely no issues with this market going at least until the record top, and actually taking that out, I am calling for somewhere around 1580 as the first part of this fifth wave, this rally that just commenced here. We could get a little retracement at that point, but I believe that once that retracement concluded, we will see throughout the second and third quarter of next year, this market steamroll past that, either to $1,623, which is the 0.618% extension of wave 3, or as high as 1680, and 1680 is based upon a 0.78% extension of wave 3. So I believe that next year we are going to see gold move and move aggressively to the upside. That is our forecast for 2020. This has been Gary Wagner, wishing all of our subscribers, all of our viewers, all of our followers a happy, healthy, successful, and wealthy new year and new decade beginning in 2020 tomorrow. We will talk to you next year and next decade. Bye-bye.